I grew up with my father. My mother left when I was very young, so young that I cannot even remember her face. My father never spoke about her. When I asked where she was, he simply said, "She's gone." That was all. I stopped asking after that. We lived in a small house near the river, quiet and alone. Few people ever came to visit. My father spent his days working in a small car repair shop. He came home late, tired and silent. He ate his dinner quietly and went to bed early. I spent most of my time by myself. I read books. I walked by the river. I watched the slow, calm water moving. I liked the silence. It felt safe. I didn't trust people. I didn't talk much. At school, I was different. The other boys played together, laughed, and shared stories. I sat alone in the corner, finished my work, and left as soon as the bell rang. Some tried to talk to me, to be my friends, but I pushed them away. I didn't believe in friendship. I didn't believe in love. My father always said, "People leave. Don't expect them to stay." I believed him because he was the only one who never left. Girls were no different in my eyes. They smiled, they talked, but I stayed quiet. I saw how easily they changed friends, how their words shifted with the days. One day they liked someone, the next they liked someone else. I thought nothing they said was real. So I stopped listening. I focused on school. I focused on work. I told myself I didn't need anyone. Years went by like that. I finished school and worked at the shop with my father. Every day was the same. I woke up early, worked all day, ate dinner with my father in silence, went to bed, and repeated it again the next day. My life was simple. It was quiet. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't sad either. I thought that was enough. Then one ordinary morning, everything began to change. I arrived at the shop early like always. My father was already there, busy with an engine. The smell of oil and metal filled the air. The sound of tools and hammers echoed through the shop. It was the world I knew, the world that never changed. And then she walked in. She looked around before stepping closer. She had a problem with her car. I wiped my hands and asked what was wrong. I didn't look at her face. I didn't want to. I just fixed the car while she spoke. She thanked me when I was done, but I didn't reply. I thought that was the end of it. But the next day, she came back. This time, she didn't have a car problem. She stood at the door, watching me work. I ignored her. She came closer and asked softly, "Can I watch?" I frowned and said, "Watch what?" She smiled and said, "You work." I shook my head, but she didn't leave. She just said, "Okay, I'll wait outside," and sat near the door. I didn't understand why. She came again the next day, and the next. Sometimes she asked questions. Sometimes she just sat quietly. Even my father noticed and said, "She's different." I didn't reply. I didn't want to think about her. But I did. One evening, I saw her by the river, sitting on a rock. She smiled at me and asked, "Do you like the river?" I nodded. No one had ever asked me that before. She didn't talk much after that. She just sat there quietly and I walked on, feeling something strange I couldn't name. She became a part of my days without me planning it. She brought coffee one day, but when I said I didn't drink coffee, she said she'd bring tea next time. She didn't expect anything. She didn't push. She was just there, and slowly, something inside me began to shift. I didn't push her away anymore. When she spoke, I listened. When she sat by the river, I sat too. One evening, she arrived late. I told myself it didn't matter, but I kept glancing at the door. When she finally came in, she placed a small box on the table and said, "For you." Inside was a simple silver keychain on a black string. I didn't understand why she gave it to me, but I held it in my hand for a long time that night. I put it in my pocket. As weeks passed, her presence became familiar, like the sound of the river I had always listened to. She came every morning to the shop. Every evening she sat by the river. She spoke sometimes, but never too much. She didn't ask questions I didn't want to answer. She never tried to change me. She just stayed. One evening by the river, she asked, "Do you ever want to leave this town?" I shook my head. "This is my home," I said. She smiled and said softly, "Home isn't always a place." I didn't understand her words, but they stayed in my mind. One rainy day, she came to the shop soaked from head to toe. She smiled as if the rain didn't bother her. She sat beside me, listening to the sound of the rain hitting the roof. After a long silence, she asked, "Do you ever feel lonely?" I said no, but she looked at me gently and whispered, "But you let me stay." She was right. I had never told her to leave. She was different and I didn't know why. I started noticing small things about her. The way she laughed softly when she was nervous, the way she looked at the sky when she was lost in thought, the way she always sat in the same spot by the river like it belonged to her. These details stayed in my mind. No matter how much I tried to ignore them. One evening, she turned to me and asked quietly, "If I leave one day, will you miss me?" I froze. I wanted to say no. I wanted to act like I didn't care. But no words came out. She smiled, but this time it was different, soft, sad. "It's okay," she whispered. "I already know the answer." The next morning, she didn't come. Nor the next. The shop felt different without her. The sound of engines was the same, the river flowed as it always had, but something was missing. In the evening, I walked to the river. Her usual bench was empty. On it was a folded note. My hands felt heavy as I picked it up. The paper was slightly crumpled, as if left in a hurry. It read, "I had to leave. But I was right, you will miss me." I read it again and again. My chest tightened. My hands trembled. I wanted to pretend it didn't matter, but I couldn't. She was gone, but she was everywhere. In the shop. By the river. In the silence she used to share with me. That night, I sat alone in my room, holding the keychain she gave me. It was a small thing, but it felt heavy in my hand. I had spent my whole life keeping people away, believing I didn't need anyone. I believed hearts were safer when they were closed. But without realizing it, I had let her in. And now my heart was open. I couldn't close it again.